Welcome to Whatif tutorials. In this tutorial we will be looking at quote reporting and management. We will be looking at follow-up, procedures and reporting. We'll be looking at how we select quotes for analysis and reporting, and what the various quote reports are. Let's have a look at an existing quote. Edit. This particular quote has been submitted, but it hasn't been accepted. It's pending. Its result is pending. When you enter the submitted date, the system automatically calculates the lapse date, which is the default lapse time until the quote is set to lapse. The estimated delivery date, which is the quote default lead time from date of submission to date of delivery, and the follow-up date, which is also based on the default follow-up period. Let's have a look now at the tracking of the quote. If a quote is rejected, we have the opportunity to select which of the generic reasons for rejection were. So it might be price, quality, service, or something else. In any case, we can add comments here for the reject reason. And we have the date advised. If it's not today, you can change the date there. Okay. If the quote is deferred, that is, it's not now but later, you get much the same screen. You enter the deferral reasons, and you re-estimate the new delivery date. It may be that they're not ready for delivery as yet even, and you enter the new follow-up date. Oops. Okay. Obviously, if it's accepted, bang, it's accepted. Okay, and it'll lapse, or you'll need to mark it as lapsed when it reaches the lapse point. Okay, now the follow-up, you have the name of the contact, his phone number, and each time you follow up, you enter the last contact date. So let's now go to how we can follow up. There's a couple of ways of following up. We may have several quotes here. We want to review follow-up. We can select the date range wherein follow-up dates fall. So that might be next week or the week after or 2 weeks hence or whatever. That will capture all the quotes that fall within that date range that have a follow-up date on them. Here we have them appearing in this form: quote number, the date, status, deferred, and now we have the opportunity to follow up again. We might be on the phone and we talk to the people, update the comments, and update the dates here. You might follow up again later, and the estimated delivery date might still be the same. Of course, if you don't want to follow it up anymore, you can cancel follow-up here, but we'll continue to follow up. So that's that one. We go next to get the next one, and so on. So we can update the quote, the follow-up of the quote selected for follow-up here. Another way to assist in the follow-up is to select date follow-up, select the date range for follow-up, which then selects them here. So all of those quotes are selected there for follow-up, and you simply then print a report. And I have one down here. is simply print a report which looks like this. Each quote that has been to be followed up is shown by customer, by salesperson, date submitted, status, result, contact, phone, follow-up. So this can be used as a follow-up list for the person doing the actual follow-up. So that's follow-up. Now, the reporting of quotes is by a series of reports, which I'll go through in a second. But most of these reports follow on from what selection of quotes you have made. So here are the criteria you can use to select quotes. You may have hundreds or thousands of quotes in here, and you might want to zero in on a particular criteria. So, for example, you might want to look at customer, or you might want to look at, say, salesperson. Select the salesperson, and you select the date range for the quote. So you don't want to look at every quote this salesperson ever did. So you look at just what you want in the way of a date. So that selects that person there. And likewise, you can do the same thing for all these other criteria. You can look at the status, that is draft, final, held, submitted, the result, accepted, rejected, and so on. So if you say accepted, you can specify an accepted date range. That will give you all of the quotes which were accepted in that date range. So that is useful. So you've got lapsing quotes here. You can ask for quotes that have gone past their lapse date. There's none there, so that means that's good. You can go to approaching the lapse date. So lapsing before a certain date will bring in any that are going to lapse before then. So that then allows you to follow up on those particular quotes. You can tag quotes. You can point to any quote and tag it. You see a little tick here, and you can tag that, and then you can select tagged quotes. Once you've selected the quotes, as I said before, you then can report. You can apply a report to the selected quotes. So we've got here reports on selected quotes. The first report here is just a straight print of the quote major details. We'll just have a look at that one down here. It's called a quote status report. It shows you for all the quotes you've selected, the quote number, date, customer, status, result, salesperson, sales cost margin, percent sales. The next report is a follow-up report. That's not correct. We won't put that as a header. We won't print that. I'll show you what it looks like here. This report here is the report that you can use to generate actual follow-up of the quotes. Next one I want to look at in the reports is the reject report. These are the reports that have been rejected. So once again, I'll show you what that report looks like here. Reject report. Now on the reject report, excuse me, it'll show the quote, the date, the customer, reject reason, salesperson, and sales cost and margin percent, and it'll show the comments you've put in on that particular quote. So this is more or less a post-mortem of quotes that have been rejected and the reasons therefore. Next report, an activity performance report. Now this is designed to show how quotes are being converted into accepted quotes and therefore sales. So you can look at the customer level, the salesperson, the referral source level, the market type, or the state. We'll just have a look at salesperson for the sake of the exercise. Okay. We want to look at a date range here. So this report, you can specify your date range. So we'll cover everything. And it'll build a report. Now the blue selection up the top shows you for each of your salespeople in terms of number of quotes. So these are numbers of quotes. So for example, Blackadder has submitted 1 quote and it's pending. Carter has submitted 2, there's 1 lapsed and 1 pending, and so on. And the values also for the same people. So Maxine has submitted 128,000 and there's 139,000 pending and 10,800 unsubmitted. That is, they're there, but they hasn't been submitted yet. So once you look at one of these figures, you can then drill down. So in this case, Rod Hamilton had 1,400,000 submitted. Well, so what were they? Well, you simply go quote details submitted, and there they are. They're the individual quotes that make up that $1.4 million. And then you can print that if you wish. So this activity reporting is very useful for looking at what's happening to quotes, how they're, where they are in the chain, whether they've been accepted, rejected, lapsed, or deferred. So that's that. Now, the next report I want to show you is just a summary report. These reports are simply showing, once again, I'll check salesperson. These are the values of quotes that have been that are in the system for these people. It doesn't tell you anything about their status. It's just the value of the quotes within the period. Next, we have quote sales and cost by line item. Now, you notice that up here we have the yellow section where you have 1 line per quote, and then, of course, for each quote you can look at the quote lines. This report we're just looking at allows you to actually look at the quote and their lines. So we'll go back in here and select quote sales and cost by line item and print. Okay, I'll show you that report. Okay, so this report lists, in the first line it lists the quote number, the date, customer, the sales person, state, and the status is draft and the result is pending. So this is a little thumbnail sketch of where the quote is. Then that's got no data on it. So this next one here, quote 4, has got these lines and these sales values and a total sales cost margin and so on. So you can see for each quote where it's at and what the lines are on the quote. So this is a very useful report once again, and if you indicate a date range, you can see where things are. Okay, reports. You can rank reports, rank selected reports. So once again, don't forget, you need to select your range that you're interested in before you do your report. So we're looking at all reports here, all quotes here. So sorry about that. We'll go back here and rank, say, sales value in descending order. So this ranks the quotes starting from the highest in value to the lowest. So this is useful in getting a feel for where the money is coming from, or where the quote potentially the money is coming from, and which which quotes to focus attention on. And that's the last of the reports. Report settings, very quickly. Each report can be varied. If we edit the report, we've got a title that you can change if you wish. You've got a little comment as to what it's used for. You can change the bottom margin, the left margin, and you can elect to have a space between rows or not. And you can change the fonts in 3 areas: in the detail lines, in the main title, and in the header and footer area. So these reports can be changed as required. So we've covered the selection of items for reporting, we've covered the reports, and we've covered the review of follow-up. So that basically covers the management and reporting and ends this tutorial.